All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're stepping right into what I can only describe as an ancient, incredibly intense mental gym. We're going to explore a text known as the Yamaka, which translates to the Book of Pairs. And listen, this isn't just some dusty old book you casually read on a Sunday. It's literally a piece of cognitive technology engineered centuries ago with one specific goal: to aggressively pressure test our most fundamental understandings of reality. I want you to picture that feeling for a second. You know a topic inside and out, right? You've got it down cold. But then someone hits you with a Socratic flip. They just casually reverse the terms of the question, and boom. Suddenly you realize your foundational assumptions were actually a little blurry. You're left completely stumped. That slight moment of hesitation, that split-second realization of your own ambiguity, that is exactly what the Yamaka targets and mercilessly eliminates. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the roadmap for our cognitive workout today. We'll start with the Book of Pairs, then break down the paired analysis method itself. After that, we'll look at dissecting reality and mind, explore truths, formations, and tendencies, chart the path to liberation, and finally wrap up with the ultimate logical drill.
Section 1. The Book of Pairs.
So to set the stage, the Yamaka is the sixth book of the Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is a massive, highly technical part of the Theravada Buddhist canon. But here is the critical distinction we need to make right away. Earlier books in this canon, they focus on simply defining or classifying terms. The Yamaka moves entirely beyond that. It assumes you already know the definitions. Its sole purpose is to test your exact understanding of those concepts, to completely wipe out any lingering ambiguity. Section 2, the paired analysis method. And this brilliantly illustrates the unique equipment we'll be using in this mental gym. The text gets its name, Yamaka, meaning pairs, because literally every single doctrinal topic is examined in two directions. Forward, is X included in Y, and then immediately in reverse, is Y included in X. It completely prevents the confusion that's so easily caused by similar-sounding Buddhist terms. You can't just passively memorize a definition. You're forced to understand the conceptual boundaries from absolutely every angle. But it doesn't stop there. After those forward and reverse questions, the text drags you through a relentless four-step refinement process. It asks, okay, are these two things perfectly identical, or are they entirely different? Does one actually contain the other? And finally, can one occur without the other? By walking through these incredibly specific logical steps, the Yamaka forces a level of exact, pinpoint precision in our thinking that is honestly kind of staggering. Let's actually try this out. I'm going to challenge you directly with a real test question straight from the Yamaka. Here it is. Is form the exact same thing as the form aggregate? Take a second and really think about it. Now, in everyday language, we'd probably just use those words interchangeably, right? But under this strict paired logical analysis, are they absolutely identical? The answer is no, emphatically no. The form aggregate is a much broader umbrella category. It includes past, present, future, internal, external, many kinds of form, not just one single instance. So yes, form is included in the form aggregate, but the form aggregate itself is not identical to a single instance of form. You see how this style of reasoning just immediately shatters our lazy everyday assumptions? Section 3. Dissecting reality and mind. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it breaks down the foundation of everything we experience. The first 4 chapters of the text basically dissect reality. Chapter 1 targets the roots, things like greed, hatred, delusion, and their wholesome opposites. Chapter 2 moves to the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Chapter 3 dives into the 12 sense bases, like the eye and forms, or the ear and sounds. And then Chapter 4 expands that out into the 18 elements, covering faculties, objects, and consciousnesses. To really get a feel for this, we have to look at the cognitive wringer the student is put through here. In the roots test, it rapid-fires questions like, is greed identical with unwholesome consciousness? Can greed exist without unwholesome states? Then for the aggregates, is form included in feeling? Is feeling included in consciousness? Are these aggregates perfectly identical, or are they completely distinct? It's an intense workout to make absolutely sure you aren't blurring these fundamental concepts together. And the pressure test just keeps going for the sense bases and elements. The text demands to know, does the eye base equal eye consciousness? I mean, think about that for a second. Is the physical eye itself the exact same thing as the awareness of seeing? Are the base and the object identical? And for the elements, is the eye element exactly the same as the eye consciousness element?
This relentless logic leaves zero room for vague, fuzzy, spiritual-sounding generalities. It demands crisp, exact boundaries. Section 4. Truths, Formations, and Tendencies.
Let's move to the next phase and see how this builds, because now we shift from basic elements to diagnosing the mind itself. Chapter 5 tackles the truths, specifically the Four Noble Truths of suffering, origin, cessation, and the path. Chapter 6 shifts gears to formations, which are our volitional, mental constructs, and Chapter 7 diagnoses latent tendencies. These are the deeply ingrained, almost invisible habits of greed, aversion, and ignorance. We are literally diagnosing the psychological habits that trap us. When we get to the testing phase for these chapters, the logic becomes unbelievably granular. For the truths test, it asks, is suffering identical with form? Is the path included in consciousness? Testing formations, it probes, are all formations consciousness? Are they always wholesome or unwholesome? And perhaps the most difficult one, the tendencies test. Do latent tendencies exist in all consciousness, and are they identical to active defilements? This challenges our grasp of suffering, habit, and choice at the absolute deepest levels.
Section 5. The Path to Liberation.
All right, we're in the final stretch now. Chapters 8 through 10 basically map out the mechanics of ultimate release. Chapter 8 categorizes noble persons based on their stage of awakening, from the stream enterer all the way up to the fully awakened arahant. Chapter 9 deals with conditions, the precise causal relations and dependence of phenomena. And finally, Chapter 10 covers the roots of liberation, exploring all the categories related to nibbana, cessation, and ultimate freedom. The philosophical tests they run here are absolutely profound. Just take the person's test. Is an arahant a person in the ultimate sense? Can a stream enterer literally become an arahant in the exact same moment? The conditions test asks, does the cause perfectly equal the effect? Can an effect even exist without its cause? And the liberation test, is nibbana identical with the path that leads to it? Is cessation itself a conditioned phenomenon? The Yamaka uses strict, unyielding logic here to untangle the very concept of enlightenment itself. Finally, Section 6, the ultimate logical drill. So the crucial point to take away from all this is that the Yamaka wasn't just ancient trivia to be memorized for a test. It is an active technology. It brutally eliminates hidden assumptions. It forces exact definitions. It acts as an intense mental gym. The practitioners who actually mastered this text weren't just learning doctrine. They were forging a diamond-clear mind, totally capable of perceiving reality without the distortion of sloppy everyday language. And the ultimate prize for making it through this mental ringer? It's learning to never ever mix up conventional and ultimate meaning. Conventional meaning is just the everyday concepts we use to navigate the world, words like person, tree, or self. But ultimate meaning refers to the fundamental, indivisible realities of existence, the raw data of form, feeling, and consciousness. Confusing those two? Well, in this framework, that is the literal root of ignorance. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think about your own worldview right now. Are your most deeply held beliefs actually built on exact ultimate reality? Or, if subjected to the rigorous paired analysis of the Yamaka, would you discover they're mostly just conventional assumptions waiting to be pressure tested? It is a truly fascinating framework to apply to our own thinking today. I highly encourage you to dive into the source material further to see just how deep this logical rabbit hole goes. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. And as always, keep questioning everything.